Hello there, and welcome to the War Factory for today, November the 2nd. Man, there is a lot of stuff to cover, so I'm just gonna stick with my actual attack right now. Unfortunately, I kind of borked this first attack. As you can see, I was aiming to land 4 sets of Zookas, and instead ended up with 3 sets of Zookas and a set of rifles, which, well, it caused rifles to pour out the side of the smokes, and things went all cocky, poopy, and crazy, and of course, you know, like, even realizing, oops, I had accidentally landed some Riflemen. It did not start off well. Now, the good news is, all you need really is the 3 boats of Zookas, maybe 4, to flash kill that laser, and then pull them down, run them around the corner like I did, and then actually land your Riflemen with the remaining Zookas, and start clearing up from this bottom corner. Now, I was lucky, I was able to kind of recover from my early endeavors of failure, and then continue up the right-hand side. The rocket launcher gots to go, so you're gonna have to, like, bond that out. Obviously, if you don't have the energy, like, if you can't pull off the whole attack in just the one, it can be split up over 2 or 3 or however many you need. That's kind of the nice thing about the War Factory. And then as you clear, obviously, in towards the mortars, you want to stay ahead of your troops, keep them shocked. You're going to eventually get into the range of machine guns, you want to keep them shocked. You got more mortars and doom cannons, and I don't know, the doom cannons with the Riflemen, I feel like it's not as dangerous, but it's still kind of dangerous. I feel like the Doom Cannon could take out a whole bunch of Riflemen if you're really unlucky, so I really don't like to leave it just kind of hanging out there, and I like to throw the shocks on them, but when it comes right down to it, if you don't have the energy to shock the Doom Cannons, you can probably get away with not shocking the Doom Cannons. So, as you can see, all in all, I pretty much cleared right up to the very end. I obviously am not going to be able to make it through the grapplers because they have a bunch of hit points and I'm completely out of energy, and I was kind of just hoping that I'd be able to clear something just enough that I could get some more energy and maybe throw critters on mines or something. You know, whatever it took to kind of get stuff together. And I was looking at it, and I actually looked at it long and hard in between the 2 attacks, where I was like, man, I didn't get some of the key stuff I really wanted to get. I really wanted to get the boom mines, obviously, and I really wanted to kind of get the doom cannons, because when you're going AZ, when you're doing that final hit, I didn't want the doom cannons to fry all my Zookas, because they're going to be clustered up nice and close. So what I decided was I would try something all kinds of crazy, and I would throw out some AZ with, instead of Bullit going for the fast kill, this other guy. I don't know, I can't remember his name. I think it's Bullit. Now, I made sure to flare far away from the core so that when my smoke is running out, my Bullit would run ahead. I kick off the taunt, I threw a shock onto the grapplers and, you know, some of the stuff, the machine guns, flamethrowers, and whatnot, that might accidentally hit some of my Zookas. Like the machine guns and flamethrowers are right on top of the HQ, like they're touching the HQ, literally. So I kind of like threw the 2 shocks, and really that's about it. It looks like the northern rocket launchers probably had their way with my poor troops, but I'm sure with a little bit of effort that could have been taken care of. Maybe an extra shock up there just to be 100% safe. So, after I did the War Factory attacks unboosted, I decided, like a crazy person, okay, now is the time to boost up. Also, partially because I had, you know, like an op attack that I was doing, and if I didn't do the op attack well boosted, I'm pretty sure I'd get in a lot of trouble. So, I boosted up for that, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna have to clear some bases off of my map, and so I'm clearing some bases off of my map. Now, before I get into any of this, because this first attack I 100% borked. I was way too rusty. I ended up doing horrible things right there with the gap in the smoke, and well, not so much the gap in the smoke, but like the troops coming out from the smoke. Whatever. Anyways, the point is, what I really wanted to talk about was a handful of things. First of all, I threw out the challenge for last week for speedruns on the War Factory, and I think my record lasted all of like 2 hours before I got a video sent to me of a fine gentleman by the name of Mez, and he hit the War Factory and beat it in 35 seconds from start to finish, unboosted. So I thought I was doing good with a minute. Turns out I was being a slacker. Unfortunately, I am no longer the holder. I guess, man, I gotta get like a trophy or a belt or something. I don't know, maybe a virtual belt so it's easier to pass around. But the title holder is certainly the Mez. So the Mez is the man. Watch out. Now, that being said, down below in the description, it will be in this direction. I am going to throw a link, hopefully, to his video. I'm not sure if I can even find it again at this point, but the plan is to throw his video down there. You can see him plow through. It's pretty impressive, and I'm a little bit jealous, I'm not gonna lie to you. So, that being said, I had to get that off my chest because, you know, I'd feel bad if people were still like, oh, you did so good, and I was like, no, not at all. Not good at all. The next thing is the temporary gunboat energy abilities. In case you haven't heard, it's been on the forums, it's been all over the place. I know people in the task force have been talking about it. There are temporary gunboat energy abilities in the game, the exact same as we saw in the Turtle, like the remote res, I believe, is the one happening right now. And if you're saying, I don't have this, what are you talking about? That's because there's a bug. The answer is, I didn't even know about it until one of the guys who was slightly lower level upgraded his armory and was suddenly like, oh, holy smokes, this is cool, and like threw it out there, and I was like, are you kidding me? Son of a gun. So, unfortunately, I do not have the fancy temporary ability, nor will anyone else who's, you know, already maxed their armory. Supercell is working on it. They've, you know, said, yeah, we're aware, we know what's going on, we're trying to fix it. So definitely don't freak out and, like, you know, go charging off to the forums to be like, oh, Supercell bug, oh no. Just because they know about it, they're working on it. But if you're kind of wondering why it happened and what's going on, well, why it happened is I have no idea, and how long it's going to be going on, again, no clue. But I know that I just did a good old-fashioned tank Gren medic hit with Bullit leading the charge. Absolutely love those bases that just front load all of their sniper towers and boom cannons and everything. They, 100 years ago, used to be really good at defending against tanks, but now that you can throw Bullit in front of said tanks, they are useless. Well, I shouldn't say useless. I'm sure they still do some things. But, like, oh man, if you stumble across the cannon-heavy or front-loaded base or whatever you want to call it, just load Bullit in front of your troops and you're gonna laugh. You're gonna just cruise right through the whole attack and have a great time. Likewise, as you can see here, we got another, I guess, I can't call it front load. Well, it's kind of front loaded base. Like, the base is all the way at the back. Normally this would be really good. I don't understand what was going on with the whole mines thing. I don't know. Maybe I lucked out and found someone who was like, oh, it's Hammerman Day, and like forgot to change their Hammerman base or something. I honestly don't know. All I do know is there are 5 blue statues in that bottom right hand. Well, not bottom, I guess. It's kind of the middle. In the right hand of his map, it's like right in the middle. Anyways, right there. Those are the I didn't even realize there were so many blues until I was kind of trolling through, and I was like, oh, look at that. My Zookas are caressing butts against blue statues. This is weird. So that was pretty smooth, obviously. Taken down like a boss with no losses. I always love to see that. No, not all the attacks are that way. I just am lucky enough that I get to pick and choose which attacks I share, I guess. So I assure you, and before anyone's like, oh my gosh, you're attacking low-level people and they're not even upgraded, what's going on? In my defense, most of these attacks, I throw out like a few feeler attacks so they can get some defenses, and it's at least something, because I got the endless troops, and I figure, really, you know, why not? Not that I'm trying to feed people defenses and intel and, I guess, diamonds, but some of the lower level people, I'm always really impressed at how high they can get. I know one of the guys in the task force was talking about a level 49 who made 900 VP, and like, holy freaking moly, I can't even imagine. But like, when I see someone in like the low 60s or high 50s, I try to throw at least something towards them, just as a good job. Anyways, final attack, we've got Phil from Fillmore, and really I wasn't even going to attack this base. I didn't want to attack it, but then I saw all of the ice that he had loaded up, and I was just like, you know what? Yeah, this has to happen. Also, I maybe needed like 200 or 300 stone, which this base just happened to have for me, so, you know, whatevs. Also, you know, I was kind of working on my turning technique with the Zookas, trying to get it so that I could convince the dog to bark nonstop. Anyways, this base goes down. Thanks very much, guys, for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's been entertaining. And above all else, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day Zooking some bases of your own.